All right, so we don't even know if Matthew Stafford is going to go on IR or not. That's where we're at right now. Before we get into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. But look, I don't like the way, and I don't need to say this because you guys already know where I stand if you've been following the channel. I hate the way the Rams have managed this quarterback room. It's not managing it at all. It's mismanaging it. Brett Rippon is the backup. He would start this week, and he's the only guy on the roster if Stafford can't go right now. So obviously they have to add somebody. But why did it ever get to this? They drafted fourth rounder out of Georgia, Stetson Bennett, who is dealing with a personal issue. I'm not even going to get into the rumors or anything. He's dealing with a personal issue. I'm going to respect that. I'm going to be understanding and considerate. What I'm not going to be understanding and considerate of is the fact that we have no update if this guy's even going to play this year. We don't have any clue if he's coming back this year or if he's done with football in general. Like, we have no idea. He went on NFI, and the Rams made no corresponding move to go out and get another arm in that room. And that, to me, is complete and utter negligence. I've liked a lot of the things that the Rams have done over the years. This is one of the worst mismanaging jobs I've ever seen from any position group on this team. And that's saying a lot, considering this edge defender room, basically the most tenured guy was Michael Hoyt, who just was added to be an edge defender, to be an outside linebacker last year. So just let's be honest here, okay? They've done an awful job with the quarterback room this year. And I think a lot of it was scapegoating. Okay, John Wolford. Okay, Bryce Perkins, you guys are out. But what was your response? Brett Rippon? Really? I liked him coming out of Boise State. I was actually very high on him as a prospect. I am admitting in this video, because I'm a believer in self-scouting, that I was wrong. He is not the prospect that I thought he was going to be. He's not the player I thought he was going to be. He's got 4 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He hasn't played a lot, but I can tell you right now, just seeing him yesterday against the Cowboys, I don't care that, he didn't have a full week of preparation. He didn't look good enough, okay? If the Rams don't have Stafford against the Packers and Brett Rippon has to play, that game could go down to the wire, because I don't think the Packers are that great, but I think the Packers will win that game. No doubt about it. Because Rippon is not a good quarterback. He's just not. And there are better guys that aren't even in the league for whatever reason than him. So let's discuss this. I get a lot of flack for bringing up this guy's name because people just don't like him. Whether it's the whole Jared Goff thing, the fact that, he went number 2 and Goff went 1, or if it's his religious beliefs or political leanings or whatever, people do not like Carson Wentz. I don't know why they don't like him. His last 24 starts, however, he has a 62.4 completion percentage, 5,318 yards, 38 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, and has a 89.6 passer rating. Now, I've been told on Twitter to shut my mouth about Carson Wentz and just let the young kid Brett Rippon go. Rippon is 27, folks. He's 27. He's not young. He's not like this 21-year-old. And, I mean, Bennett's not young really either, right? He's 25, 26. Look, I'm over it. I'm over hearing about it. Brett Rippon should never have been in this position anyway to start. He is not good enough to be the backup. He is a third-string quarterback that probably should be on a practice squad, okay? He is not good enough. They're not going to win games with him. So for those of you out there that want to tank for Caleb, well, this is certainly a way to do that. But the point I brought up Carson Wentz's 24 starts was because, first off, they come in the last 2 seasons, okay? Second, listen to Matthew Stafford's last 24 starts. 64.7 completion percentage. Okay, it's better than Carson Wentz. 6,029 yards, better than Carson Wentz. 35 touchdowns, fewer than Carson Wentz. 24 interceptions, 8 more than Carson Wentz. And 88.7 passer rating. So stats are not everything. I do get that. And obviously I'm not trying to make the argument Carson Wentz is better, but I am trying to get it through people's heads that Carson Wentz is not only the best option in free agency. This is the Baker Mayfield discussion we had last year all over again. The people that didn't want Baker Mayfield, he's locker room cancer, this, so that. Baker Mayfield was by far the best option that the Rams could have had to keep the season somewhat enjoyable. The Raiders game, the Broncos game, just to keep the season somewhat enjoyable. is having a guy like Baker Mayfield in there. Well, Carson Wentz would be the same. However, this is a little bit different this year. The Rams are 3-5 now, not knowing if Matthew Stafford's going to come back anytime soon or not. And the fact of the matter is 3-5 last year probably doesn't keep you in the playoff race. This year, however, the NFC is bad. And the Rams have an easier part of their schedule coming up. And by easier, I mean way easier. Their only two games I'm really concerned about are the Ravens and Niners if they're healthy. Now, if they're not healthy, then I'm very concerned about every game, including the Packers game. They got a bye coming up, to be fair. So let's talk about it, okay? Matthew Stafford is better than Carson Wentz. I'm not saying he's not. But the last 24 games, Carson Wentz has a higher passer rating. That is not cherry picking, okay? Because guess what? Carson Wentz, his last two seasons, his last 24 games sprawl out to the end of 2021 or whatever. I mean, Matthew Stafford's last 24 games sprawl out to 2021 as well. I mean, that was his best season, like with the Rams. So, I mean, that's interesting. And again, it's not to knock Stafford. It's to show you that Carson Wentz is a starting quarterback in this league. And for the love of God, if you were going to give Scott Turner a pass, who was fired, by the way, in Washington, because all I ever hear is, oh, he was terrible in Washington. What about his 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions with the Colts? Is that terrible? No. Jim Irsay overreacted. They missed the playoffs, and he used him as a scapegoat. Since then, have the Colts even been as good as they were with Wentz? I don't know. I don't think so. So, I mean, let's talk about it. With Washington, Ron Rivera, really? Ron Rivera has not done anything. Just throw quarterbacks under the bus like he did with Carson Wentz. And Scott Turner got fired. So you can't tell me that, oh, well, Carson Wentz doesn't have it anymore. What if he had Eric Bieniemy? Bieniemy's getting whatever he can out of Sam Howell behind that porous offensive line. It's actually kind of impressive. But yeah, let's just point the finger at Wentz and act like he can't play in the league when he absolutely can. I'm also tired of hearing, well, if he's not on a team, why do you think that is? Like, why would you suggest him when no other team wants him? Well, let me ask you something. If there are good teams in the NFL right now, those good teams, don't you think they have backup quarterbacks? I mean, the Eagles have Marcus Mariota. That's a good example. The Chiefs, they got Blaine Gabbert. Really good backup quarterback. Is he the best? No. Really good, though. Backup, right? Sam Darnold with the 49ers. Starting caliber, maybe? And he's their backup. So you have good backups on good teams. Good teams know to plan ahead to have good backups. However, bad teams are bad for a reason. Because for the most part, they're stupid. They're run poorly, and they're poorly managed, and they don't care. And that's why they're always bad. It's why the bottom of the league continues to be the same teams. Now, obviously things change and whatever, but this is why Carson Wentz is available. Because you can't tell me that Carson Wentz couldn't be doing things in Tennessee right now, or he couldn't be winning games with Atlanta. And you can't tell me that he's not a better option than Sean Mannion or, as much as I like him, Jaron Hall, a rookie that's not ready to play for the Vikings. I mean, you can't tell me that Carson Wentz wouldn't be a better option for Cleveland. Now, you can, because you could say he doesn't know the offense. That's fair. That's a cop-out. But it is fair. And this goes back to my whole reason why I hate the way the Rams have managed this quarterback room. Because if they actually did what's right, as soon as they put Stetson Bennett on non-football injury list, they could have gotten Carson Wentz in the building, like I said back when this happened. Could have gotten Carson Wentz in the building, had him working, learning the offense, and then guess what? Right now, he'd be able to overtake Brett Rippon and start. Instead, you're going to be stuck with Brett Rippon if Stafford can't go. And you could say what you want. Oh, yeah, it's no big deal. We're focusing on 2024. No, it is a big deal. Okay, you wait 9 months, not 8 to 9 months to see NFL football, and you're just willing to throw it away going into November just like that? I don't want to see Brett Rippon play 4 games. They're talking about potentially putting Stafford on IR. We don't know what's going to happen there, but the idea of Brett Rippon starting 4 games, that's barely even watchable. So that's my thoughts on Carson Wentz. But this video, I want to talk about other options. Matt Ryan, in his last 24 starts, 66.4 completion percentage, 5,693 yards, 24 touchdowns, 22 interceptions, and an 85.1 passer rating. Matt Ryan has kind of hit a wall, but he's still a serviceable backup that can come in and start some games. His issue is he's a statue in the pocket. So I don't know if it would be good for the Rams to have him, but he is good at, the dinking and dunking, 66.4 completion percentage, and he can throw deep down the field. Not as well as he used to be able to, but he wants to play still. He'd be an option behind Carson Wentz for me, but I wouldn't hate it if Carson Wentz got picked up because the Rams took too long, and now you have the Giants that are rocking Tommy DeVito, and you got the Vikings, who just lost Kirk Cousins for the year and are right now, if the season ended, in the playoffs. So, you might not get Carson Wentz because you waited. Again, mismanagement. Let's look at Nick Foles. Now, here's the thing. Nick Foles, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions last season. There are people that tell me Nick Foles would be a better option than Carson Wentz. You have to go back to the St. Louis Rams in 2015 to fully grasp Nick Foles having 24 starts. Okay? He has not started enough games to get to 24 starts without using the 2015 season with the Rams. I don't want him. I don't want Nick Foles. He's older. I don't want him. You could say what you will about Carson Wentz being older. He's 30 right now. He'll be 31. That's not old. Nick Foles is old, and he's not very good. So, no to Nick Foles. Matt Ryan, still probably no, unless Carson Wentz isn't there. Joe Flacco in his last 24 starts, dating back to 2018, mind you, 20.6 completion percentage, 5,928 yards, 27 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 82.5 passer rating. Joe Flacco's kind of just a guy. He's also 41 years old at this point. I don't really see him as much of an option. Again, statue in the pocket, would struggle. I don't really see it. Another one, I like Colt McCoy. I think he's a really good backup quarterback, has familiarity with Sean McVay going a while back, but you'd have to go back to the Browns 2011 season to get to Colt McCoy's last 24 starts. I don't want Colt McCoy over Carson Wentz. I don't get that at all. Then you have Bryce Perkins, who has the familiarity factor. He's younger. He was on the team last year. He started a game or two. Who I think they just got rid of because basically they just wanted to scapegoat him. I mean, that's how I see it anyway. They should have stuck by him. But anyway, he's gone, but he's available. We'll see what happens there. Case Cookus was also on the team last year. Never got a chance to start or anything. Philadelphia Stars USFL. Really good USFL football player. Has a deep ball. He'd be an interesting option. He was already on the Rams. We'll see what happens there. And then practice squad options. You got the Bills quarterback Shane Bichelle, Patriots quarterback Malik Cunningham, Jets quarterback Trevor Siemian, Commanders quarterback Jake Fromm, Bears quarterback Trace McSorley, Lions quarterback David Blau, Packers quarterback Alex Magoo, Vikings quarterback Sean Mannion. Please no, Rams. Please don't do it. Colts quarterback Kellen Mond, Jaguars quarterback Nathan Rourke, Panthers quarterback Jake Luton, Bucks quarterback John Wolford, Broncos quarterback Ben DiNucci, Chiefs quarterback Chris Oladukin, and Chargers quarterback Max Duggan. There's not much, guys. There's really not much out there. Carson Wentz is by far the best option. Wouldn't mind bringing back Perkins or Wolford. I do think Brett Rippon is that bad. I do think you're signing up for a tank job if Rippon starts more than a game. And that's how I feel. I think this season's still very much alive. They're 3-5. They're in a bad NFC. They're 10th right now. And, you have these teams that are ahead of them, like the Buccaneers. They're going to have a decent schedule. The Saints have an easier schedule, but they do play them. But like the Seahawks, who are 5-2 right now, are about to play a really, really tough schedule to end their season. So I think there's definitely a shot. There's not a lot of teams that are in it. I would say there's truly 10 teams, 11 teams that are in the NFC playoff race. The Rams are probably the last team, unless you want to count the Commanders. So that's just kind of how I see it. I think it's a no-brainer to bring in Carson Wentz. Obviously the money might be a little high. That's totally your fault. You could have signed him earlier. He wouldn't have cost as much, but now the Vikings need a quarterback, and he could potentially start for that team. The Giants, I mean, it was just a really, really poor mismanagement from the Rams and Les Snead, Sean McVay, to only have Brett Rippon as the next guy up behind Matthew Stafford. Emergency quarterback would be Cooper Kupp and Tutu Atwell. If Stafford can't go, it would be Brett Rippon and then Cooper Kupp / Tutu Atwell. They're going to definitely sign somebody. They're probably going to take somebody off the practice squad. My guess, it'll probably be John Wolford because they weren't prepared at all for this. Just complete mismanagement. They did work out Carson Wentz in March. They decided to sign Brett Rippon instead. Some will look at that as what's wrong with Carson Wentz. I would look at that as what the hell's wrong with the Rams. But that's just me. Again, if you don't like Carson Wentz, fine, but you got to take all that stuff out of it. If we're focusing on football, this guy has 155 touchdown passes in his career. His last 24 starts, he's had arguably a better 24 than Matthew Stafford's last 24. I just don't really see how this is even worth an argument at this point. Wentz is the best option. You either want to continue being competitive and win games or you don't. And if you don't, then that's why you don't want Wentz. It's not because you don't like him. It's more so because you want to tank for Drake May or Caleb Williams or Shadir Sanders or Bo Nix or whoever the hell. And to be honest with you, I haven't, dove too much into quarterbacks. I would not draft a quarterback in this draft in the first round. I would take a left tackle. Left tackle, I think makes a lot of sense. I'm not done with Stafford. This is Overreaction Monday. I'm not overreacting. Not done with Stafford. Hopefully he can come back sooner. But the stuff I'm seeing about people being done with Stafford, man, it is way too early for that. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I'm curious what you guys think. Hopefully I'm turning some people onto the Carson Wentz train. Normally when that happens, he'll end up, we'll probably go and sign with the Vikings. But, hopefully that's the case. I put my my stamp of approval out there, but I also, backed up my information, and I think he makes by far the most sense. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. I'm out. Until next time, you guys take care. Later, folks.
Start playing Pick'em or Weekly Fantasy for any sport today, Jake. Users will receive a 100% deposit match up to $100 if they use promo code OTE at sign up. Start playing Pick'em and Weekly Fantasy Football today with Underdog Fantasy.
Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.